Today, we have another SGC reveal for you guys. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Steven, and I help run Breakout cards alongside Ryan. And today, we're going to be showing off our sub. I decided to break it into 3 different parts. First of which, we're going to go over our inventory. Second, we're going to go over Ryan's PC. And third, we're going to go over some cards that you guys submitted with us. Without further ado, let's do it. Let's get started. This is a massive sub we have for you guys, so be ready and you're gonna learn a lot. Let's get into it. First here we have a Monet from 1908 Felix Poten. This is Claude Monet, famous painter known for his dot paintings. Next we have a Jesse Owens from 1936 Cosmos. We have a Jack Johnson from Honest Long Cut Tobacco. We have a Francis Ferdinand from Felix Poten. We have graded this card before with SGC, and he's most famous for his death starting the start of World War I. We have Andrew Carnegie. Unfortunately, there was color added on this one. With these old cards, sometimes you don't really know what the alterations were to them, and you get them raw, so you really don't know what happened to them unless if you've owned them since that time, which you probably didn't. So you have Andrew Carnegie, Steel Magnet. Rudyard Kipling, SGC 3, famous author. And another Claude Monet. Next group coming up. We have a 1965 Mantle, Henry Armstrong, 1935. Joe Gans from the Ogden set. SGC 4. Have a Led Zeppelin card from 1972. Really like how, as you guys can see, and compared to even the Joe Gans, for example, you can see how they space the cards out, which I really like. And this card is just pretty wide. And as you can see, they account for that into the slab, which I think is very cool. And they don't leave any space for white or any sort of space we can see through the cards. So very cool there. Wanted to point that out real quick. We have Louis Pasteur. He is well known for pasteurization, which is a farming technique. Pretty cool card there. And we have President McKinley. Also color added, unfortunately. Did not know the color was added, but this happens to the best of them, and that's what you get when you grade old cards. Moving on along to the oversized cards that we have and graded with SGC here. First, we have a 1904 Liebig card that shows both Ulysses S. Grant and Abraham Lincoln. And this card, this Liebig brand, most people don't know, but Ted Williams actually has a card from this Italian brand. Definitely not a 1904 card, but still something to note. And just for collectors, honestly, I didn't know this until recently that he has that card. So definitely keep a lookout for it. They're a little oversized, but very cool and unique. Definitely oddballs. So we ended up grading multiple of this card. So we had it in the 2, 3, 5, and 3. And I believe Ryan has only one to put in his PC. That's a 4, but we'll get to that later. And the last oversized card here, we have General Sheridan. General Sheridan was a Union general under Abraham Lincoln. So for those of you that don't know who he was a general in the Civil War. Card from 1894. Now we're going to switch pace and go back onto the rest of our inventory here. Have an Alkaline Rookie, Authentic Altered. We have a Willie Mays, which I believe we bought raw in one of our card show reveal videos, and now we finally got the grade for it back. So pretty cool seeing a card go full circle there. Yogi Berra, SGC 3. Again from 54, we have a Larry Doby. This card is interesting. We have, you can see by the way it looks, just a lot of die cut corners. The Derek Jeter Beam Team card. I believe Beam Team cards started around the early 90s and did make their way up into the early 2000s. This one is numbered to 500. I'm actually very excited with the grade because these are tough to grade, and just anything in general that is a die cut, there's so many things can go wrong. Technically, every little side is considered, part of the edge or a corner. It's just so easy to mess them up. So to get a 9, very happy with that. I have another Jeter refractor. And I want to throw this in too, that I actually got a lot of these Jeter cards at one of the local Miami card shows and decided to grade them. So keep that in mind too. Got it from a collector and they look pretty nice, so I decided to take the shot. Another Stat Stars Jeter here. We have a Donruss Jeter Gold Proof. I didn't know this because it doesn't say this anywhere on the card, but I believe these are numbered to 500. I actually figured it out through looking at eBay listings. I didn't even realize there were silver and gold proofs, and the gold was significantly rare, so that's pretty cool. The 1999 Fleer Mystique numbered to 2,500, numbering right down there. And the 1999 Bowman Chrome Refractor at an 8.5. Overall, definitely satisfied with those, as those cards can be very difficult to grade and easy to get 6s and 7s. Next, switching gears, we have a Teddy Roosevelt, Felix Potent. Another President McKinley, this time we got a 4. Another Roosevelt. Thomas Edison, famous inventor, his looking left pose. And this is a pretty cool one right here because we have the inauguration of Washington. Pretty interesting. I believe, I can't remember off the top of my head what bill this is, but I believe on the back of a certain U.S. currency there is this showing, so it's pretty cool to have it in a card. And the last group of our inventory cards, so we have a Tom Barker Ty Cobb card. I want you guys to keep in mind too, if any of you are familiar with these type of playing cards, which they were part of a playing deck, I believe. There's also the 1913 National Game cards as well that look almost identical, except on the back it said National Game instead of Tom Barker. General Grant for the President Days, very cool. A cricketer, Victor Trumper. Charles Dickens. Another Charles Dickens. We have Emlyn Tunnel. A George Washington from the Ogden set. Keep in mind with the Washington that these cards from the Ogden set are definitely more common than any of his earlier issues. He has some really cool, I believe he's in the Great American set if I'm not mistaken, or he does have some cards around that era. And from those, they're definitely more scarce than these. But regardless, a card of Washington is still very cool. Zach Wheat, Nielsen's Chocolate. Nielsen's was a brand from Canada. It's a sister set to the American Caramel. Hank Greenberg, second year. Diamond Stars. And the last one of our inventory, a Larry Doby. Actually did not think this was going to get the altered, but unfortunately did. You win some, you lose some. And with that note, we're going now to Ryan's cards he's going to put in his PC. The first cards we're going to show from Ryan's PC are the two that didn't get graded. Now we have a Teddy Roosevelt card from Will's that for some reason did not get graded, even though Will's cigarettes are a pretty big brand. They've graded a lot of cards from there, but this one is a little unique, so we're gonna maybe try again or go somewhere else, not totally sure yet. And a Winston Churchill. Now the Churchill has a Goldfincher, I believe that's how you say Goldfincher back, and it is cut a little weird, so I can understand why they maybe didn't want to go ahead and grade this one, or this might be the first they've ever seen. But either way, they're going back to Ryan, and we'll decide what we want to do with those. Next, the Lewis Pasteur, but this one in a 2.5. Edison looking left. The Charles Lindbergh, famous pilot. We have a Lone Jack Inventor. This one of Alois Senderfield. alloy center fill, excuse me, for lithography. A Major Taylor. This one is going to be an upgrade. Definitely shown this card before, but getting a 5 is pretty cool and definitely tough for these types of cards. We have a Stonework Ben Franklin. Lone Jack Jethro Wood, who invented the iron plow. We have Elijah Howe, invented the sewing machine. Richard M. Hoe. Johann Gutenberg, invented the Gutenberg typewriter. And Sir Humphrey Davy, invented the safety lamp. Digressing away from the Lone Jack stuff, we have Sitting Bull from the Allen & Ginter set. Yeah, believe it or not, they made a lot of cards that weren't related to sports cards, and this happens to be one of them. There's a lot of subsets in Allen & Ginter, so definitely cool if you can check it out. There's even ones of, I believe, animals and other things, so definitely worth doing the research there. Frank Gotch, famous wrestler. FDR, and this one is a blue back too, which is rarer than the orange and the red backs from these set. I mean the blue front. I'm sorry about that. Not the back. We have Alexander Graham Bell, inventor of the telephone. And just as I was talking about it, this is also from Allen & Ginter, Flags of All Nations. This one from the United States of America. Might be the first U.S. card ever. George Hackenschmidt, another famous wrestler. And the last card coming from Ryan's PC that isn't an oversized card is James Eads. We have the last group of cards from Ryan's PC. Ready or not, here we come. We have the card that we've shown already before, the Grant and the Lincoln, but this time in a 4, our nicest copy. Have the Jimi Hendrix 1969 Bergman card. Show up through this angle, pretty cool. We have the Nirvana hand-cut card. Looks pretty nice, but in the upper right, there is some paper loss. Let's see if you guys can see it, maybe a little bit. So didn't end up pulling the 1, unfortunately. We have a Paul Revere from the same set as the General Sheridan we showed earlier. Warn everybody that the British were coming. A Pink Floyd card also from the Bergman set. A Panini sticker of Bono. Pretty nice grade, especially with being a backborder card, getting a 6. We have John Rockefeller, might be one of his first cards, and he was at one point probably the richest man in the world and definitely one of the richest people of all time with his company Standard Oil. And finally, the last card, famous actor Keanu Reeves. Now, this one did get an authentic, a little weird considering it is a hand-cut card, but as you can see, it does have some perforation up top there, so maybe that's why it got that grade, although a little weird considering it is hand-cut. And with that card down, we're going to get into those of you who subbed with us, and that will wrap up our video. Let's get into it. We have a Socrates card that unfortunately was not able to be graded. I believe the submitter even sent me a website link, which I tried to provide, but they weren't able to grade it, unfortunately. Next, we have a Zarthrus from Stonework. John Murr card. I'm getting an 8. Albert Camus from one of the chocolate sets. And then this card right here, which looks like it's of either Greece or Rome. I wish I understood more about the card, but it's in a language that I do not know. Still definitely an interesting card here. One of the other cards that unfortunately was not able to be graded is an Elvis Presley. Really not sure why this one wasn't able to be graded, but sometimes it happens. If a card the SGC gets is just very unique and they don't know a lot about it, they don't want to risk their brand, so they just end up hitting with a no grade, no charge there. We have an Isaac Newton, found the Law of Gravity. Charles Dickens. William Shakespeare, famous playwright. Martin Van Buren, U.S. Card, another one of those blue ones. A Beatles card. And a Frank Sinatra, which was actually graded in another video. Unfortunately, when I sent it out, and yes, I did bubble wrap it, it ended up breaking a little bit in the slabs. We got it re-slabbed, and it looks very nice. Moving right along, we have a Thomas Jefferson from the Hallett Company. We have Andrew Jackson, George Washington, and an Abraham Lincoln. Really awesome portraits on these Tuck & Sons cards, and we got more of them coming up soon, so be ready. Another Lincoln right here. Ulysses S. Grant. Thomas Jefferson. Theodore Roosevelt. Another Teddy Roosevelt. Andrew Jackson. Another Andrew Jackson. And a Ulysses S. Grant. Last group of cards for the sub. Admiral Farragut. Alexander Hamilton. Michael Jackson, King of Pop. Admiral Farragut. Again. John Adams from the U.S. Caramel set. John Tyler. William Henry Harrison. Rutherford B. Hayes. Ulysses S. Grant. Theodore Roosevelt. George Washington. And the final card of our sub today, Charles Lindbergh from the Skybird set. Alrighty, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. Really appreciate it. These videos will go out every so often when we get our subs in. Thank you for those who participated. We hope some of you watching maybe want to go ahead and participate. So feel free to reach out to us and have a great day.